For anyone who's ever been focused on getting better at their sense of feel and timing, the metronome can either be your best friend or it could even be your number one enemy. I know that from my own experience of years spent teaching. The moment that I can sense the skill level of one of my students reaching that smoother, more fluid point with a scale or a riff or a chord progression, that's when I'm going to be there quickly with the metronome, turn on the metronome, dial in the speed where the student can perform the guitar part perfectly. Sometimes that's only something like quarter notes at 44 beats per minute or even slower. But the speed doesn't matter. What does matter is that the student is starting that metronome work, because once they can put that guitar part, together going maybe 44, then it won't be long till they can push it up to 54, and then they'll get it to 64, and then 74, and then 84 and beyond. And this is incredibly important, because building a sense of solid time is probably one of the most important things that you're ever going to do as a musician. On a metronome, the speed of the beat is clocked at beats per minute, also known as BPM. So this means that 60 beats per minute is equal to 1 second on a clock, and this speed of 60 can often be one of the best places to start when you're trying to work a study together in a new musical idea. So if you're working on a new chord change, or maybe it's just a brand new set of chords in a rhythm guitar progression, maybe you're trying to build up your technique with an exercise or a new scale run, whatever it is, start becoming familiar with the part first, then turn on the metronome. You could put it at 60 beats per minute if you want to get started with, and find out if you can play the idea you're working on at that speed. Or maybe that speed is too slow, or maybe it's too fast. You'll have to be able to make that decision along the way, and then decide how you're going to alter the speed of the metronome. Do you need to bring it up? Do you need to slow it down? As an example of all this, I've got a scale run that I want you to try and learn here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the idea at different speeds. I'll play it at first at 60, and then I'll slow it down to 40, and then I'll speed it up to 80, and you're going to get a chance to hear, what it's like to work with the metronome and clock your feel of the speed of the beat in time. So let's do that right now. Here's the guitar lick played at 60 beats per minute. 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what we're going to do is dial the lick right down to 40 beats per minute and play it a lot slower at 40. Here we go. 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. All right, next what we're going to do is crank it up and take it over to 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I hope you did pretty decent on that exercise. If it was a little bit challenging for you, maybe just start with a scale pattern or something, and start small, work your way up to some of these more, challenging ideas. But, working with single note lines is a fantastic place to start initially, in working with a metronome. But another really important area for developing smoothness and feel for the beat in time is with chord progressions. So when we're training ourselves to get better at performing chord changes, especially with chord types that we might not be very good at on the guitar, we're going to want to use a metronome. It's one of the best ways to get your chops up and help guitar players really nail down the feel, and especially the technique required for performing as little as even 2 chords, moving from one to the next. Now, I'd like you to have a try at this exercise that I have for you. It's going to be on learning to perform some movements between some pretty unique chord patterns. And I should probably state up front that if these chord patterns are really crazy and you just can't get them down, start basic. Go back to open position chords if you have to, if you're having trouble with a few of those, and then build up your skills a little bit there, move on until you can reach working on chord changes like I have for you. Because the ones I have for you here in this lesson plan, these are not your garden variety open position chords by any means. So you might need to prepare yourself on their finger layout prior to turning on the metronome. And when you do have the fingerings down, then you can turn on the metronome and try the same beats per minute approach and feel that we had practiced with the previous guitar scale exercise. So testing your skills at switching the chords at 40 and then switch them at 60 and then move on to 80 and see how you do. So let's just zoom in on the neck, and I'll run through these chord changes with you, and then as you develop them to higher levels, you can start by turning on a metronome and building your skills with them. So let's do that right now. The first thing I'd like to do is run through these chords. They're not exactly the most common of chords, but if you played some jazz, you may have seen them. The first one I have for you is a G major chord with B in the bass. So your middle finger's down there on the B, and then you're basically getting like a G power chord on the fourth, third, and second strings there. The next thing we're going to look at doing is a B flat diminished seventh chord. If you played some jazz numbers, you've probably come across that one. This is a 6-string root. You can tell the bar I'm doing there on the fourth across to second strings. And then the next chord we're going to move into is an A dominant 13. So it's like an A dominant 7, but we're going to be placing the F sharp at the top there. You can see my fingering is just index, middle, ring, and small finger. Then the next voicing we're going to do is an F minor 7, but it's going to be kind of a unique F minor 7 because it doesn't have a fifth. It's just the root to the minor third, the flat 7 is on the third string, and then we're barring to catch an octave of the F on the second guitar string there. So F minor 7 as a bar chord style off of the fifth guitar string. Then we're going to move over to root position E flat major 9. So we've got the root, major third, we've got the major 7, and the ninth is up on the second guitar string, played with the ring finger. So those are the chords we're going to be using. Now I'm going to turn the metronome on and go through those chord changes at 40 beats per minute to get started with here. So this is pretty slow. Here we go now. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. 2, 3, 4. All right, so that was 40 beats per minute. Good place to start if these chord changes are very challenging for you. Now we're going to move up to 60 beats per minute. Here we go. And 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, next we're going to do 80 beats per minute, so we're going to crank it up quite a bit faster here. Here we go now. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can tell, if chords are new and challenging, start really slow with the metronome and then build your skill up with them until you can get it at least, closing in on 100 beats per minute would be pretty decent. Well, I hope that you did okay with that chord progression. Like I said, it's kind of, challenging, and if it is really challenging, what you may want to do is start with some easier chords. But in wrapping up, it's really important that I'm very clear with you on getting you to fully understand that although a lot of guitarists might think that they have decent feel and decent timing, the reality of the matter is that if a musician isn't using a metronome to constantly test their skill for performing smoothly and perfectly in time, and also to double check their ability to perform properly with perfect execution of technical movements of both hands, the fretboard hand and the strumming and plucking hand, all that stuff has to come together very well. And the truth is, if they're not using a metronome if the student is not using a timekeeping device. Even just a drum machine would be better than nothing. You're probably not going to be in perfect time. And you know what? If a musician isn't playing music in time, that also means that there's a lack of perfection to their relationship over to feeling music and also to the musical smoothness to what they're doing. So the choice is really up to you as a player. If you want to get a quick dose of the truth, take a guitar scale or a lick or a series of chord changes and turn on a metronome. Discover if you can play through the musical ideas to the beat and in time. And if you can't, well, then you've got some practicing to do. Well, I'd like to end the discussion by saying thanks for joining me. If you want to learn more about what I do as an online guitar teacher, then head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for your free lifetime membership. When you want more out of the site, you can always upgrade to either a basic or a premium lesson package and start studying all the guitar courses I've organized for the members of my website. There's loads of information on the site for introductory students. There's a full intermediate program. There's an advanced program that I got rolling along on the site. There's some great stuff for guitar soloing, acoustic guitar. I started a rhythm guitar exercise program. There's a guitar technique program. I got master classes on there and tons of quick licks and quick riff series on there. There's so much guitar information on my site that you really got to go there, pull the free membership, and just go and check it all out. Once you review it all, if you have any questions, please send me an email or you can call into my studio during the day. I'm around pretty much all the time. It's generally, I'm in the office from around 9 in the morning right through till I'd say, about 5 o'clock is when I usually head out to do a lot of my teaching in the other studio I have. So, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of Monday through Friday. Over the weekend, send me an email if you have questions. Otherwise, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on all the stuff that I talked about here in this lesson. Put it in the comments section below if you enjoyed the video. Again, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more lessons. And especially thanks to all those who are followers on the channel and who are members on the website. I couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys. So I'll catch up with you again next week for another episode of the Guitar Blog Insider. Bye for now. Hi everybody, Andrew Wasson here from creativeguitarstudio.com. I've been a professional guitarist for over 25 years now, and I've been teaching guitar for even longer than that. But today I want to talk to you about your current situation by discussing the study of guitar and the time that you have available to put into it. If you're like most people, you're working a 9-to-5 job and you're working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, that's 160 hours a month. How much free time does that leave you left over to study guitar? Let's say you can maybe fit in an hour or so, around 4 or 5 days in a week when you have the free time. And if that is the case, wouldn't you want to make the most of that 1 hour of study, practicing a highly organized, step-by-step, well-structured guitar curriculum? Without a structured plan, it's pretty easy to waste time. A lot of times it happens by just focusing on playing through a bunch of stuff songs riffs you already know, licks that you're familiar with. But practicing stuff you already know will not make you a better guitar player. You need a constant supply of fresh material. If you practice guitar by just playing stuff you already know, before you realize it, time ticks on, time ticks by, and that valuable period of time that you have every day, it gets lost. If left alone, those hours lost every day turn into lost weeks, lost months, and then eventually lost years of wasted time. You'll still be the same guitar player that you were before because you never challenged yourself. I've seen it dozens and dozens of times in my own studio here. But you can change that. In the valuable time that you do have every day, you can start studying a comprehensive guitar course that'll not only educate you, but it'll turn you into a well-skilled musician. So if you want to learn more, sign up for a free account through my website at creativeguitarstudio.com. The general access membership is absolutely free to join. Come in, get your feet wet, and when you're ready, you can go for the paid membership. What you'll discover in there is the most comprehensive guitar curriculum available online. I've got 25 years experience teaching guitar and have written a well-organized step-by-step guitar course. Head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for a free membership today. Join the thousands of members worldwide who have already enrolled. There's no need to try learning the guitar on your own. Let me help you become the best guitar player that you can be.